Hi, Kim here at Wild Hearts and Wildflowers, and I've been wanting to bring you a couple of videos just to share some of my favorite cozy reads, whether that be mysteries or many other genres. However, when I sat down to think about what were one or maybe two representative books from the cozy mystery and then all these other genres that I love cozy books in, I realized that the list I was creating was probably far too long for just one video. So right now I'm going to do part one, and it's going to be all about cozy mysteries, but different themes. Now I'll have to revisit this topic again because there are probably hundreds of themes within the cozy mystery genre. And I've read a lot of them because I started reading cozy mysteries when they first became popular back with probably the person that people would most likely call the mother of cozy mysteries in the modern era, which would be Joanne Fluke. Since then, the genre has gone crazy with the addition of so many authors and so many new series and just so many interests to explore within the genre of cozy mystery. So that's what I'm going to talk with you about today. And then part two, which I'm going to put up right after this one, will be cozy books in 8 other genres that I think you will love, especially this time of year. Well, at least I know I do. I find that winter is the perfect time to get all snuggled up, whether by a fire or under the blankets, have a nice cozy drink, and lots of cozy fiction to read. I'm actually planning to bring a part 3 to this little cozy series, and that's going to be some very fun, very interesting, cozy nonfiction books to read. And you know what? Any of these books, not only do I think they're great for personal reading, I think they would make great gifts for the people in your life who love to read and love taking a cozy approach to it. All right, cozy mysteries and the 7 themes I want to share with you today. Believe me, there are so many more books in each of these themes and in many other themes within cozy mysteries. So there's really a limitless supply of these types of books if you find that you enjoy them. And just because you don't enjoy one particular theme within the cozy mystery genre does not mean you're not going to find one that you do enjoy a lot. So let me share just some of my favorites with you. So first up is historical cozy mysteries, and I'm going to give you 2 different examples of this genre, even though there are so many. One of them is the first historical cozy mystery I ever read, and it was written by Elizabeth Peters, and it is called the Amelia Peabody series. This is the first book, Crocodile on the Sandbank. Now, the 19th book was A River in the Sky. Sadly, just after that, when the author was in the middle of writing the 20th book, The Painted Queen, she passed away. And so they called in Joan Hess, another very prolific and famous, successful cozy mystery author, to finish out the writing of that last book so that the series could have a conclusion. I'm really kind of glad for that. No, it can't be exactly like it would have been if the original author, Elizabeth Peters, had done it herself, but it's pretty close. They were good friends, and Joan Hess tried to do it within Peters' style. Sometimes I hesitate when saying Elizabeth Peters, and that's because that was a pen name for her real name, Barbara Mertz. And Barbara was an academic Egyptologist by degree and actually wrote a few ancient Egypt nonfiction books before she started writing very successfully her mini fiction series. She wrote under 2 names, Elizabeth Peters as well as Barbara Michaels. Her Barbara Michaels books tend to be gothic and supernatural thrillers, but her 3 Elizabeth Peters books are all historical mystery. And this one, by far the most well-known and by far the most loved. I just ate this up. Actually, the movie The Mummy was modeled after this fiction series. The humor that is in the movie is also in this series. Some of the more graphically gory or scary scenes in the movie are not depicted in this series. The series is definitely cozy, but very heavy on the history and the archaeology and some romance. And I just loved it. So good one to get started on if you would like a long-running, substantial, but entertaining series. Now, another great historical cozy mystery series is written by Jill Churchill, and it's called the Grace and Favor series. This is the first book in the series, Anything Goes. This series is set in 1929, after the Great Crash, when the Depression started. Let me read you the back so you'll get an understanding of it. So, the crash of 1929 has ended the party for high-living New Yorkers Lily Brewster and her brother Robert. It takes them from the upper echelons of the idle rich and deposits them to the lowly depths of the disillusioned poor. However, rescue arrives in the form of their recently deceased great-uncle Horatio, who bequeaths to them Grace and Favor Cottage, which is really a great sprawling mansion. And there's a fortune to go with it, but only if they reside there for 10 years. With no other alternative, the spirited Manhattanites moved to a quiet and quaint Hudson River community and try to fit in. But they soon find out that great-uncle Horatio did not die peacefully. He was murdered while on an elaborate sailing party on the Hudson River aboard his yacht, and Lily and Robert are suspects. But when another corpse appears in the kitchen of the mansion, the siblings are determined to clear themselves. Without a clue how to begin, Lily and Robert start snooping, unaware that their savvy sleuthing could make them the killer's next targets. Now, I read this 6-book series so long ago that I don't remember all the details. I'm really looking forward to rereading it, though, this coming year, because what I do remember is that this mystery had me laughing out loud, and that I learned a lot about this time period that I didn't know before. So I highly recommend it to anyone who is already interested in this time period, or if you just want a mystery that you know is going to make you laugh. Speaking of laughing, now I want to share with you a cozy mystery series that's one of the funniest I've ever read. I think it might also be the only one here written by a guy. I can't promise that. There might be another one, but this one definitely is. This is written by Jeffrey Cohen, and it also was one of the first series I ever read. So we're talking like 2 decades ago. Trying to remember when the first one was published. Let's see. 2007. So not 2 decades, but we're getting up there. We're getting pretty close. So I got these books as they came out, and I only wish the series had gone on longer. The first book is Some Like It Hot Buttered. The second, It Happened One Knife. And the third, A Night at the Operation. Now, as you can tell, all the titles in this series are plays on the titles of old movies. And this series is actually named the Double Feature Mystery Series. And it is set in a vintage movie theater that our protagonist has decided he's going to restore. And he loves vintage comedies. And he thinks that there's probably a lot of other people that like them too, and he thinks he can make a go of this small business. And so that is how the first book starts, with the discovery of a dead body in one of the theater seats after the lights come up after a showing, I believe, of Young Frankenstein. The synopsis reads, "The dead guy in row S, seat 18 is no joke. Elliot Freed, recovering writer, sucked all his savings and the alimony from his ex-wife into the Comedy Tonight movie theater, never suspecting it would become a crime scene. And murder can't be good for ticket sales. Death by popcorn was the cause, poisoned popcorn. To the chagrin of the local police, Elliot takes to his bike to start his own investigation. A growing attraction to a beautiful detective, the discovery of a DVD pirating operation, and one missing employee later, Elliot's still waiting for the punchline. But this one might knock his theater and Elliot out for good." So this is perhaps a little out of date, talking as it does of DVDs in our streaming economy now, but it is very funny. He's a very amusing writer. And especially if you love vintage movies, there are references to them laced throughout these books. Now, just as with the Jill Churchill series, Grace and Favor, set in the time right after the Great Crash and the beginning of the Great Depression, I read these a long time ago. I don't remember all the details. In fact, it's another series I'm looking forward to rereading this next year because I did enjoy it so much the first time, and though I don't recall everything about it, I recall the feeling I took away from it, and that's why I'm recommending it to you. Now, I am going to share with you a few contemporary cozy mysteries I'm pretty sure you will love. But first, I want to share a few more books from themes I think you will like too. The first of those is The Coffeehouse Mysteries by Cleo Coyle. And this is the first one on What Grounds. Now, this series has 21 books in it and is still going strong. It started in 2003. Here it is over 20 years later. No sign that it's going to end anytime soon. Book 21 is called No Roast for the Weary. And I absolutely love this series. It is set in New York City, which very few cozy mysteries are. And you might say, but I thought one of the requirements for a cozy mystery is it has a small town setting. Well, yes and no. It needs the feel of a small community. And within New York City, there are many little areas that definitely have that small town family feel to them. And such is the case in this series. I also love about this series the fact that even though it was started over 2 decades ago, it's very inclusive. It has all sorts of characters in here that you don't necessarily see in some of the older mystery series. Let me read you the back of this one. So, with a sprawling rent-free apartment directly above the Village Blend, her cat Java by her side, and plenty of coffeehouse redecorating ideas, Claire is thrilled to return to work managing the Village Blend until she discovers the assistant manager unconscious in the back of the store, coffee grounds strewn everywhere. Police arrive on the scene to investigate, but when they find no sign of forced entry or foul play, they deem it an accident. Case closed. But Claire is not convinced. And if this wasn't an accident, is Claire in danger? So if you love coffee and you love mystery and you like the big city but with a small town feel, I definitely think you will enjoy this series. Next up, I have a series for you that is probably one of the most popular cozy mystery series out there. It was only started in 2015, but already it has 20 books in it. Well, the 20th is coming out very soon. Book number 1, Meet Your Baker. Book number 19, the latest one out at the moment, is Sticks and Scones. And this is the Bakeshop Mystery Series, which is set in Ashland, Oregon. Now, if you're not familiar, Ashland is a very, very cozy small town. It is the home of the Shakespeare Festival. All of us who live out west love it and visit it regularly. It's about 3.5 hours north of me, and I was just there in October for the 2nd annual Cozy Mystery Festival. Oh, that was a really fun experience. And one of the greatest things about it is that town has several great bookstores. And I actually found some really good books at those bookstores. The used bookstores have great deals. And I did a video on that, which I'll link up above somewhere and at the end of this video. But Ellie Alexander is the one who actually started the Cozy Mystery Festival last year and then brought in so many of her colleagues and friends, fellow cozy mystery writers this year to make it an even bigger festival. It was a big success. But the Bakeshop Mystery Series is good for a reason. That wonderful Ashland setting is so authentic, and baked goods. Like so many of these series, this one comes with recipes. Lots of delicious recipes. After graduating from culinary school, Juliet Capshaw returns to her quaint hometown of Ashland, Oregon, to heal a broken heart and help her mom at the family bakery. The Oregon Shakespeare Festival is bringing in lots of tourists looking for some crumpets to go with their heroic couplets, but when one of Tort's customers turns up dead, there is much ado about murder. So this series is known to have fantastic character development in the ongoing books, and it's like revisiting your own favorite hometown, with a little side of murder and some wonderful, delicious baked goods. 2 more themed cozy mystery series, and then I'll share a few contemporary cozies. So this one, definitely one of my favorites of my favorites. Also one of the first series I ever started. From Kate Carlisle, we have the Bibliophile mystery series. And this centers around Brooklyn Wainwright, who is a rare book collector and expert and restorer, and very interesting world to be brought into. I just loved that aspect of it so much, but also great characters that I really enjoyed. You know, like I said before, I've read many dozens of mystery series in the cozy mystery genre, and I'm sharing with you ones that have some really outstanding features, and this is definitely one of them. And from the back of the book, Brooklyn Wainwright is a skilled surgeon. Sure, her patients might smell like mold and have spines made of leather, but no ailing book is going to die on her watch. The same can't be said, though, of Abraham Karastovsky, Brooklyn's friend and former employer. On the eve of a celebration for his latest book restoration, Brooklyn finds her mentor lying in a pool of his own blood, and with his final breath, Abraham leaves Brooklyn a cryptic message: remember the devil. Then he smiles as she takes possession of his priceless and supposedly cursed copy of Faust. Brooklyn suddenly finds herself accused of murder and theft thanks to Derek Stone, the British security officer who found her kneeling over the body. Now she has to make sense of the clues left behind by her mentor if she hopes to restore justice. The 17th book in this series has come out recently. It is the 12 Books of Christmas, and that is the only one that I don't have yet, so I'm really looking forward to getting it and reading it this December. Now, there are many crafty themed mysteries within the cozy mystery genre, and these vary from candle making to painting to embroidery to jam preserving to quilting. I could go on and on. If you can imagine a craft, there is probably a cozy mystery series that covers it. And here is one of my favorite authors that does the crafty cozy mysteries extremely well, and that is Betty Hechtman. Or Hechtman, not sure how you pronounce it. This is her Crochet mystery series. It has 15 books in it now. Number 1 is Hooked on Murder, and number 15 is Killer Hooks. She also has a newer series with 5 or 6 books in it that is all about knitting. I do have those books. I haven't started that series yet, but I knew it was a winner because this series is just so good. So Molly Pink is about to discover the joys of crochet. For her, the weekly crochet group at Shed and Royal Books and More was just another event to manage. But then she stumbled across the body of the group's leader, Ellen Sheridan. Molly's complicated past with Ellen has made her a prime suspect, and after being cuffed and questioned, she could use a diversion. Never mind that she doesn't know how to crochet, granny squares don't look that hard to make. But while Molly's fending off a detective with a grudge and navigating crochet group politics, the real killer is still at large, and it's up to Molly to catch the culprit before she winds up in a tight knot. So I highly recommend any series by Betty Hechtman. She's a great cozy mystery writer. Time for the contemporary cozy mysteries now. And this book you've probably seen somewhere on BookTube long before now because it's so popular and so well loved. People just were astonished at how warmly they felt about this book. They maybe couldn't tell you why, but they just wanted more of it. Fortunately, the author has given us a sequel, which is due out in April. But this is the first book, Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Q. Sutanto. So the second book, as I said, is coming out in April, and it's entitled Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man. I can't wait to get that book. It's already pre-ordered, but why is this book so well loved? Why is it so special? It is hard to say, but let me see if it comes across from the back cover. Vera Wong is a lonely little old lady, a lady of a certain age, who lives above her forgotten tea shop in the middle of San Francisco's Chinatown. Despite living alone, Vera is not needy. Oh no. She likes nothing more than sipping on a good cup of oolong and doing some healthy detective work on the internet about what her Gen Z son is up to. But then one morning, Vera trudges downstairs to find a curious thing, a dead man in the middle of her tea shop. In his outstretched hand is a flash drive. Now, Vera does not know what comes over her, but after calling the cops like any good citizen would, she sort of swipes the flash drive from the body and tucks it safely into the pocket of her apron. Why? Because Vera is sure she will do a better job than the police possibly can. Nobody sniffs out a wrongdoing quite like a suspicious Chinese mother with time on her hands. Vera knows the killer will be back for the flash drive, so all she has to do is watch the increasing number of customers at her shop and figure out which one among them is the killer. What Vera does not expect is to form friendships with her customers and start to care for each and every one of them. As a protective mother hen, will she end up having to give one of her newfound chicks to the police? So everybody reads this and comes away saying, I want Vera Wong to be real. I want Vera Wong to be in my life. And I felt the same way. I think that if you read it, you just might too. And the last cozy mystery series I want to share with you, another contemporary one of my new favorites, because the first book only came out in 2022, and that is The Maid by Nita Prose. I absolutely loved this book. And the second book came out last year in 2023, and it is The Mystery Guest. Fortunately for all of us who love this series, a third book is coming in June of 2025. It's going to be called The Maid's Secret. Now, this series is special for many reasons. Nita Prose is a fantastic author and does a great job with the mystery. And the setting that she has, this grand hotel, wonderful. But I think the main reason this series is special is due to its protagonist, Molly. Let me read to you the premise of the first book. Molly Gray is not like everyone else. She struggles with social skills and misreads the intentions of others. Her gran used to interpret the world for her, codifying it into simple rules Molly could live by. But since Gran died a few months ago, 25-year-old Molly has been navigating life's complexities all by herself. No matter. She throws herself with gusto into her work as a hotel maid. Her unique character, along with her obsessive love of cleaning and proper etiquette, makes her an ideal fit for the job. She delights in donning her crisp uniform each morning, stocking her cart with miniature soaps and bottles, and returning guest rooms at the Regency Grand Hotel to a state of perfection. But Molly's orderly life is upended the day she enters the suite of the infamous and wealthy Charles Black, only to find it in a state of disarray and Mr. Black himself dead in his bed. Before she knows what's happening, Molly's unusual demeanor has the police targeting her as their lead suspect. She quickly finds herself caught in a web of deception, one she has no idea how to untangle. Fortunately for Molly, friends she never knew she had unite with her in a search for clues to what really happened to Mr. Black. But will they be able to find the real killer before it's too late? Both a clue-like locked-roomed mystery and a heartwarming journey of the spirit, The Maid explores what it means to be the same as everyone else and yet entirely different, and reveals that all mysteries can be solved through connection to the human heart. And that is definitely one thing this series and the Vera Wong books have in common, and that is the element of found family and how important those connections are to us in life. So if you're looking for a good, cozy mystery series to read this December or January, a good series to snuggle up with, I highly recommend one of these. Now, my next video is going to be part 2, more cozy books for you to enjoy, but not cozy mysteries. Although some of them might have an element of mystery to them, these are from 8 other genres, from cozy sci-fi to cozy time travel, which I know it's a form of sci-fi, to cozy witchy, to cozy romance, and 4 more. So be on the lookout for that video. It should be up in a day or 2 probably. And until then, well, happy reading as we move into the month of December. See you soon.